Right, hi. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear. Hi,
Lucia?
Lucia.
Okay, thanks.
I'm so happy to
Okay.
see you guys.
Go on, Lucia.
It's Lucia, by the way.
I beg your pardon, Lucia.
Thank you. Jazz.
Lucia, you're just.
So happy to see you, man.
Okay, I can't see anybody else at the moment.
Well, it's
Do you
only 3
Make
minutes
some
past.
introductions. Do you guys know each other already?
No,
We're in other groups together, actually.
yeah.
Do you want to do a quick intro? I think particularly why you're interested in this group.
Yeah, do we want to wait for others so we don't do it twice? I don't know. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm just having my coffee, so.
It's 3 minutes past. Shall we give it another couple of minutes?
Give it a couple of minutes. Sure.
Yeah.
I find the COVID world of being places on time, even though it's Zoom and it's in your house, I find people are just a little more casual.
Yeah.
I can't afford that as host, though, can I?
Sure you can.
No.
You have to be flexible with the humans.
Okay.
The humans are flawed. So,
Yes, true. Definitely.
you know,
We're
we
not
are
as intelligent as dolphins, you know.
so they say. How are you? How is the United Kingdom? It is a rainy 10-degree day here in Canada.
Yeah, very windy here, raining.
Right.
But I think we've been blessed for nearly all of the lockdown so far. It's been blue skies, sunny weather. So I didn't mind queuing up in the shop, outside in the shops. Because it just...
Yeah. I think it's a little chillier where I am. I'm in Ottawa, Canada, our nation's capital.
Right.
And yeah, so we had some snow. And it doesn't stay, but we still get the flurries and the snow. I was out at 6 this morning, went for a little walk, and it was misting and yucky, and but we've had a few nice days. We're not going to see in Ottawa. We live in a really deep valley. We have no spring to speak of, so we will go from cold and damp to, oh my God, it's too hot, I got to wear my shorts. In the space of about 2 weeks, all the trees will bloom and it will be 30 degrees. Poof.
What's the terrain like? Because my brother lives in Vancouver, and they've obviously got the sea and the mountains. Do you have
that's
skiing?
really far away from here.
Right.
So Ottawa is in Ontario, which is central Canada. The terrain here in this city is quite flat, but it is in a very deep valley. The St. Lawrence River runs past us. We have 2 rivers and a few canals here in our city. It's a very, waterway kind of city. Ottawa was the path for the logging industry in the 17 and 1800s. So all of the logs from the forest were brought down for the whole lumber industry. Canada is known for its lumber. And that's how that was all done, was through the waterways. But yeah, Ottawa itself is pretty flat and boring. I'm from Halifax, Nova Scotia, so which looks much more like Scotland. In fact, it looks exactly like Scotland. So yeah, it was much hillier and craggier and patchwork quilts, fields and that sort of thing. Ottawa's dead boring. All the buildings are beige. It sucks. But
no, just to set the... I've actually got to prepare for another Zoom meeting on the back of this.
Well,
so I'm good.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Jazz?
Yeah, I'm good easily till 1:30. I could definitely go till 1:40, but at 1:30 I'm going to start.
Sure.
That's what I actually asked for the agenda before, and I thought I would need to kind of...
Did we have an agenda?
Yeah, there was...
Yeah, I'll try and share it.
I'll just... Oh, wait, no, we did open it. I have it open. I'm not organized.
Okay.
Let me have a look, see if I can find it.
Peter, do you want to start with your introduction since you're hosting with the mosting?
Absolutely, yes. As indeed I should. Sure. So yeah, I'm Peter Jones. I'm interested in this primarily because I think that the economic impact is going to be quite large. I think I have skills that I can offer to people, and my background is that I was originally in technology. I was then a process designer, then a project manager, and I'm now back in technology because I'm working on a learning platform, which is an edutech product. Who wants to go next?
Lucia, do you want to go?
Sure. So I'm a communication strategist. I started out in crisis management and media relations, and then I swept over into spokesperson training and value articulation, and for the camera. And I've always been involved in policy and process design. And so I'm very much into UX design now, and the ethics of artificial intelligence. That's my jazz. And oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say that way. And
It's not patented.
no. So I'm very much into customer-centric communications, and I specialize in membership development and retention. So what can I do? I was trying to think, what can I do for this gang? I think definitely I'm going to live in the product development and networking land in terms of my giving.
Network development, product development, yes?
Sorry?
Did you say network development and product development?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, networking and product development.
I like the idea of that, thank you. I'm just struggling slightly with the tech because I haven't hosted a Zoom before, so.
Just chuck your stuff onto gallery. So just click gallery on your computer screen. It'll show you have different views of your audience.
I'm on Windows. Is that the same on, is that a Mac?
In your Zoom app, there, if you muck around a bit in the top right-hand corner, it should say speaker view. And if you click on that, you can find other views.
Got it. Yeah, thank you.
So best to go with gallery or speaker view so that you can see all your humans.
Thank you. That's good. Thanks very much. I've been a recipient, not a host.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Jazz.
Yeah, so I'm going through a reinvention, actually forced by the virus. So I was about to launch a business to help leaders, managers, and troops accelerate their excellence. The model being, I'll give you a half-hour taster, lunch and learn at your premises, free of charge. And then on the basis of that, you go, wow, that's amazing. Let's do the full day transformation. And that week of just as going to launch, it was lockdown. And I thought, oh man. But then I think the next day I got excited. I thought I'm going to have to now digitize my delivery, which was my sort of game plan, maybe 2 years hence. Okay. So I'd video the seminars and then have them as part of my digital delivery. But now I thought I haven't got a choice. So I'm actually reinventing myself and investigating the technology platforms available, and there's huge choices and it's quite confusing.
Yeah.
They give you 2-week trials, but that's not enough time to learn. So, and also rebranding. So that's why I jumped in a lot of groups, because I was basically almost like lost, thinking what's going to happen next, and it got thrown a bit. So I'm still trying to clarify in terms of this group, people who are needing to change. But this morning, with the help of someone else, I started getting clarity about what I might be about. I'm going to try and read it if I can, because I can't remember it yet. So I've come up with this is all work in progress. So from niche to law firms and disruption disruption forces lawyers to become lovable, or even more lovable. The competition crushing advantage. So when I look at that, I think if I'm going to niche with that, then my niche isn't people who are, transferring from a landscape where they need to upskill and reskill.
Are you a lawyer, Jazz? Is that why you're in there?
Sorry?
Are you a lawyer?
No.
But that's your target market?
Yeah. So basically, I train senior managers how to communicate, leadership skills, productivity skills, in a way that makes profound and long-lasting, even permanent changes. But the key thing is in a one-day transform. And I did that and had phenomenal results. That was a long time ago. So I got distracted with other things and life got in the way. So I'm now relaunching that. But because it applies to humans, so the only qualification is that you're a human and you want to activate yourself, your emotions, your ability to communicate and be productive, communicate with yourself and others. So obviously you could apply to anybody. It could be a single mom at home. This material could be an old person, a young person, a technology business, artistic, musicians. But I thought, let me first target with people who might be able to pay me, and then I can even afford to give it for free for people who need it, but can't afford to pay me. So
yeah.
I think most product delivery configurations, you want to be very mindful about what percentage of your profits you're giving away to the freemium model. I like that you've niched on the lawyers. The nice thing about the lawyers is that you can use humor in your marketing. They are very rarely treated like hot-blooded animals, and nor do they, and that's because they rarely behave like one. But they will respond to some not derisive humor, but they will respond to humor in marketing. They will respond to humor in your product delivery as well. They welcome an opportunity to smile when they can, more so even than accountants and stuff. I only say that because I worked in litigation and I was a defense lobbyist and I was always around lawyers.
All right, awesome.
So it's very cool that you're considering that reconfiguration. Nothing much changes except for how you deliver, though. I mean, we were about to launch how to change your business into reducing your carbon footprint. So we were literally already building our business to teach people how to convert to digital when this happened. So I was like, oh man, the universe freaking loves me, man. So, but I'm a public speaker. My business is on the stage. So I'm very sad.
Yeah.
Because I've been on stage my whole life, and I find the lack of human contact of Zoom is making me wither and die. I'm not having a good time.
Jazz, can I ask you a slightly different question? We sort of looked at 4 possible areas. I mean, product development is one that Lucia has already mentioned. But we've got, things like networking skills, social selling, digital marketing. Are any of those areas particularly interesting to you? I
think, well, all of them. So the way I'm sort of, this only happened this morning, by the way. I always wake up at 4 o'clock, meditate at 5, and then do a bunch of work. And then I do intermittent fasting, eat at midday. So this literally just happened in a few hours. So my brain's still jelly, but all of those areas. So I'm thinking, even though I'm niching to law firms, as I produce the product and the delivery, it could apply to interacting with any of those areas in different ways. Like how to communicate, that applies to networking, applies to upskilling and communicating with yourself, to have the confidence and the positivity and with others. So yeah, it's very early stages. So it's hard to, it's like it's just a piece of clay, hasn't been fashioned into any kind of artful piece. Okay, so early stages. Can I ask NASA, as you've joined us, would you like to say hi and introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, hi everyone. My name's NASA. I own a business consultancy, an advisory company in Horsham in in West Sussex in the UK. Primarily, I've had all my monthly retainers put on pause for businesses that I've been working with. And so what I've been trying to do is look at the amount of alternative funding there are for businesses in the UK. I work with owner-based businesses, both private equity and also the government business interruption loans and the new Bounce Back, great name, Bounce Back loan that they're introducing from next week. Primarily, I've just been acting as a resource of being signposting people to areas that they can help them through this crisis. From a personal point of view, it's been really, really tough. It's everyone's in the same boat and financially stretched, unless you're selling fruit and veg or a supermarket or essential inadvertent worker. Business has never needed more gelling together and partnerships and cohesion than before, I think.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's quite a definable product, really, in a way, because people kind of are looking for access to finance and funding. So that's quite a useful thing to be able to offer people. I mean, are people kind of fairly clear about understanding that when they're talking to you?
Yeah, they are. But it's the situation is that the complexity and the information that's required by people to actually get themselves off the ground has increased tenfold. So
yes.
Although these facilities have been opened, the downside is that more examination of people's financial planning, personal finances have come under enormous scrutiny in order to just get the most simplest processes done. So it's really difficult, and there are still too many businesses and business owners that are falling in between the cracks. And there doesn't seem to be any near conclusion as to what the government are planning in terms of relaxing things, other than people making up their own minds as to whether it's deemed safe or not.
I'm assuming, I mean, obviously we've got Lucia with us, who's based in Ottawa in Canada. Mm-hmm. So that's a UK only service.
Yeah, I mean, one of the funding lines is global that I've opened up. So I've had some interest from companies.
Nasser, can you just explain what you do? It was a great long thing at the beginning, and I confess I'm not very financial management minded. I work in a whole other sector, and I'm pretty dumb when it comes to math. But what is it you do exactly? You provide loans to people?
Yeah, well, what I've done is that I have a platform which enables me to upload company details to source funding for them. But through this crisis, I've been using that platform.
So you're brokering loans?
Yes, I'm actually acting as an intermediary broker for Capitalised platform at the moment.
Okay, now I get you.
But I've also got access to a Swiss fund to help global companies that are struggling to access, finance across their own portfolio. So, talking to a company in Greece at the moment, of trying to help them gain some access to some working capital and growth capital.
Is that like an IFA there, Nas, or?
Yeah, because I'm not FCA regulated. I go through regulated companies. So Intercapital in Switzerland's regulated by the Swiss Financial Conduct Authority, and Capitalise is an FCA regulated body.
Was your business drastically damaged or hurt or changed by Brexit?
As Brexit hasn't happened, no, not at the moment. I think it will do. I think it will do if we are bundled out of Brexit come the 1st of January. I think we will see a massive seismic double whammy come the end of this year.
Oh, I thought Brexit was in January.
No, I mean, Johnson signed the divorce papers with the EU, in January this year. Brexit
Okay.
doesn't actually occur until either an agreement or non-agreement is agreed at the 31st of December this year.
Oh,
And
okay.
the UK currently has nothing in place to replace the agreement that we have. And as I see it, we're going to be thrown into the World Trade Organization tariff come the 1st of January 2021.
So can you clarify where your and I don't mean to be dense, I apologize. And if I'm asking too many questions, let me
No?
know. Um, where your business has suffered because of isolation, that's what we call it here. We choose to
Yeah.
use.
Yeah, I mean the fact is that as a primary business consultant, I was out and about talking to clients,
Yeah, I
meeting
know.
clients on site, and actually implementing business change and business strategy change. Obviously, that is completely stopped, and therefore the monthly retainers that I have on my books have been paused, albeit I'm running Zoom calls, but they're not actually other than very small billable pieces of work. So hence why the financial aspect is what I've explored to try and offer online facilities for companies that are struggling to raise money or access government loans.
We can
So
certainly.
is it fair to say, Nas, that you and Jazz are both looking at some kind of or some level of reinvention to what you're doing?
Yeah, for me, yes.
I mean, how substantially would you say that is?
Well, given that I have no idea where the end piece of this is, this could be, an ongoing process, and
Yeah.
may well turn me into looking at the financial aspect far more, importantly than I did before, because the clients I'm working with at the moment are in an absolute turmoil themselves. So
Sure.
it's a bit like wading through treacle with going uphill.
So would it be right to say that if we are talking about things like networking skills, social sales skills, and digital marketing, that would be something you would be interested in doing more of or getting some support with?
Well, there's threefold for that. One, more knowledge and upskilling myself and acknowledging myself, if that's the right word. Certainly working on how I portray myself online through video and video testimonials, and looking how to cut through the massive amount of noise that's out there at the moment to
Yep.
get myself above that noise, I think. And all
So
that's going to be digitally and socially led, I guess.
Yeah. So if we're talking about kind of two things here, I mean, one is we've talked about a mutual support group, which this session is kind of an example of. So that's one thing where we can talk amongst each other and make possibly helpful suggestions to one another. I've kind of put a draft format together about how that could be done, and also I've actually used that locally in live business networking meetings, where I was talking to the local Chamber of Commerce, and they seem to quite like the idea. And there's a separate document for that which people can look at if they're interested. So I mean those are sort of areas that we can explore here at sort of in mutual networking. But there's also this type of a format where we've got people who are interested in the types of things that we're doing, where we might be hosting a meeting and we can be saying to people, okay, if you've got needs in such and such an area, this area, whatever it happens to be, you can actually, with similar interests, having that kind of discussion hosted by, say, in this instance, Naz, yourself, or if it's product development, it could be Lucia. Jazz, I think we've still got some work to do to kind of clarify, the type of thing that you want to do. Does that sound a reasonable set of thoughts?
Yeah.
Lucia, what do you think?
Yeah, I wrote down, I was listening to Nasser speak and I was making notes while Jazz was speaking as well. And
Yeah.
in terms of if there are any blessings that I could bring
Yeah.
to the peeps. And then also while Nasser was speaking, because his situation is a little closer to mine, in that all the stuff I had booked for 2020 was my year.
Ah,
It was dripping in cash. It looked so good. It was so cool. And people had put down their deposits. Thank God they're non-refundable in my contract. Oh my God, because I spent that money. But and now there's just this, a vacuum was presented, like, where did everybody go? And then how do I
right.
get to them again? And then, so I was looking, and I guess the things that I was writing down for Nasser, and let me know if I'm gone off the beam here. I was looking at delivery methods, strategic networking, social convening, refreshing the brand, and differentiating yourself in the market. And I think that those things are pretty standard for what we all require. I can't find anyone who's in a different boat. Unless you're a fry cook in a restaurant or something. Actually, they're all closed here in Canada. Hard. But for business owners, like we have Jazz, who does professional development, personal and professional development, as do I in some of my product lines. We have Nasser, who does financial development and business development. So we're all in growth-based industries.
Hope so.
Having to reconfigure. And I think one of the things that most people are going to lack is differentiation in the white noise of the digital marketing extravaganza that's about to rip off here. So, because every person on the planet is going, oh, I just need to buy some ads on Facebook and do some digital marketing and blah, 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 blah. And I'll buy myself a LinkedIn package so that I can digitally network on there. And people are thinking that lead development is new, but it's just an expansion on what people ought to have already been doing in the first place. So it's just some things need to get bigger that already existed, and some things need reconfigure. So for example, I came up, a friend of mine was going to strangle her children, and she said, my God, can you just teach them something? So she has 4 kids. So I created a product called Itty Bitty Business. So I do business planning and growth sessions with 7 to 12-year-olds now.
Awesome.
So that's, instead of working with small business owners and stuff, now I work with elementary school children, and they're making like dog cookie businesses and all sorts of dumbass things. But it gives them projects and that kind of thing. I priced it reasonably. I deliver it now. I was delivering it to each household, but now I have enough that I have usually now twice a week, I have a class of 15, which is 4 households. So that's an example of that kind of delivery where I just like, something fell in my lap and I just optimized it. But
can I ask Jazz if he can just respond to that? Because you haven't said anything for a while, Jazz.
I was going to say that's a good.
Nice to get a response.
That's a good definition of a small business owner.
Yeah, yeah, very small.
How cute are you? How cute are you?
Tiny business owner.
Itty bitty. They're just itty bitty.
Itty bitty business owner.
They're insane. It's my worst thing I do every day. I like, it's like, oh my God, it's like herding cats. It's horrible.
Jazz, what do you think?
Well, I think obviously Lucia's got a lot of fun. It would gravitate to adults as well, obviously, but children would completely, even by the name, itty bitty business. Just your whole energy, and even on this call, I can tell you're a fun-loving person, and the children probably could have millions of them following you.
I get on grown-ups' nerves. But Nasser, there's so much we can do for you.
Yeah,
It's not hopeless. It's not
I've heard
hopeless.
that.
It's not hopeless, Mala. You know.
No. I think really at the moment it's yeah. If I just go back 7 or 8 weeks ago, you know, that's how short this COVID-19 lockdown's been, and it's devastated, you know, so much. And yet, you know, you hear so many good news stories, which is fabulous. And don't get me wrong, you know, there are businesses out there that are thriving as a result of this this situation. But I think they're far fewer than actually is led to believe, you know. And I think, you know, people's circumstances are different. I've got, you know, personal circumstances with you know, being directly affected by COVID-19, with the sad loss of a very good friend, and my mum in a dementia care home where they're recording deaths. So, you know, everyone will be touched by it. A bit like everybody says about cancer, that they know somebody who knows somebody that's been touched by it. And I think that will be the longer standing piece of this, you know, this virus. I think the bigger concern for businesses going forward, and certainly the businesses that I try and get in on as many Zoom calls or webinars to further my own knowledge and network, is how we actually manage to progress as businesses and business owners as and when lockdown is phased out. And I think that's the bigger nightmare, you know, where a lot of the bigger firms are already starting to look at furlough as a mechanism of making staff redundant. And I think, you know, that's going to have a profound effect on all our economies, whether we're across the other side of the pond or not. I think it's going to be a massive domino effect.
Can I come in there for a minute?
I think.
Can I come in there for a minute? If, as I understand it, the global economy is supposed to shrink 35% and then bounce back 25%, which by my maths means a net drop of 18%. And I'm looking at, first of all, perhaps this mutual support group, mutual self-help group, you know, to start, which I think is useful for people because it means we can sort of bounce ideas around and try stuff. But secondly, you know, whether or not people here think that hosting a Zoom meeting for them might be a way to engage with people and start that rebuilding process. What do people think?
I know here I'm hosting masterminds.
Yeah.
So I like the mastermind model. The other model that we've been engaging in over Zoom, which is new for me because I normally do these F to F, I normally do them face to face, is the salon method, this old-fashioned sort of boutique holding a salon, which is where someone presents a concept and then the group sort of discusses it, deconstructs it, and finds positivity at the end of it or whatever. Now, we used to do that with, it was more, in my olden days, we would do it with philosophy. Now we do it with business. But I think that the mastermind model lends itself to action plans and progress over random discussion. So for me, that would be crucial to making a success of what you're proposing, Peter, is that there is a system of execution, a system where people can be rewarded by witnessing their own progress. I think we have to make sure we're balancing the psychology of what's happening. For singles like myself, I haven't touched a human in 8 weeks. Like, I'm dying inside.
Oh.
There's no amount of morning chanting that's going to fix that for me. So there's that balance. Half my world was massacred in Nova Scotia the other day, and we witnessed the suffering, and we cannot hold our people. And I'm not even exaggerating. That was my hometown.
Right.
So it undermined my productivity. It undermines, like, when people are grieving while they're trying to grow a business, there's a misfire that's taking place. Like, it's like a synaptic misfire. And I think that when we consider a mastermind under normal circumstances, we can be more belligerent about accountability, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Whereas under these circumstances, it's like when we started the meeting and it was like, we got to give people a couple of extra minutes because there's a difference in the way the world is operating right now.
Okay.
There's also a difference in the way business is operating. So there will be a difference in the way we grow and reconfigure our businesses. My phrase du jour is scalable reconfiguration. So it has to be incremental and manageable and recognizable in the marketplace.
Sure.
You know, so that's kind of where I would want to go with there are things that I really need from the group.
Yeah.
I am dumb as a bag of hammers when it comes to digital marketing and stuff.
Right.
So,
Okay.
you know.
That's a good share. Thank you.
If I can just, as I said, Peter, I know
Yep.
you're recording this. Would love to watch the recording. I don't know how long you're going to be talking for, but I think
Yep.
NASA missed that I have to leave in like another minute. But
Sure.
my thoughts are, you know, is like fail fast and iterate. You know, so the sort of rapid evolution model. You know, just even if you're scared, because I wasn't comfortable doing video meetings, and it's only with this crisis of, because you could always do it before with WhatsApp and other stuff, but I never. Yeah.
Exactly the same, Jazz.
Yeah, but now it's sort of, you get used to it. You know what I mean? It's like when you first hear your voice on a tape recorder and you think, oh, I don't like that, but then you get used to it.
Yeah.
And even my
Yeah,
environment back, I've got these big sort of pieces of art. I was putting them on chairs behind me to hide all the clutter. But now I think this is me, you know, that this is where my machine is, my clutter's behind, and take it or leave it. If you don't like it, switch it.
I'm sorry Christina didn't come.
Yeah, shame. She's
Next
very
time.
busy though. She's on the front line. She's on the front line.
It's been great seeing you. I'll catch you next time. And if the recording's available, I'd love to catch up on that way as well.
Namaste,
I will make it so.
Namaste, my favorite word. Cheers.
Jazz, take care and stay safe.
See you. Bye-bye.
I've sent you a link as well for LinkedIn, Jazz, before you go. And
okay,
I'll Lucia.
Yeah.
Lucia.
So just to keep in contact, I need to shoot off in a minute or two.
Sure.
But it's been a pleasure meeting you, and it'd be great, Peter, if I can, if you can keep us up to date on the WhatsApp group of any forums like this. I think it's vital that the business community and business owners keep in contact, keep sharing new ideas and supporting each other, because without that, I fear a complete implosion.
The thing that I found locally, Jazz is going, that's fine. But the thing that I found locally was people need to be, to some extent, brave enough to share their needs. So that if something isn't working very well, it's quite important that you're clear about that, because that means that people can come and talk to you about relevant things. And that was something that I encouraged in the local Chamber of Commerce. And that actually seems to be working quite well. And that was literally just before, we had the COVID shutdown. So I was a bit disappointed as well, because, I could see this working and working quite well. But I think it's an important thing to be able to do. It does take some bravery.
I agree. And I think, people are willing to show, everything's all sort of, the same and everyone's doing well. I think, you're right. Bravery is twofold, isn't it? Is acknowledging that we've got some tough times ahead, but we can pull through it and use each other's expertise, skill sets and knowledge to help each other adapt and change their business models.
I think that's a really good summation, yes.
I need to shoot. But lovely meeting you guys, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Okay, Nat. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Good seeing you.
Mr. Peter.
Lucia.
How can I be of service to you, my friend?
Well, it was an interesting kind of first meeting. Definitely going to publish the results so that people can have a look and see what they think subsequently. Maybe what I need to do is to distill what was said summarize that. I'll publish that as well, and then people in the group can see what they think, plus go and look at the video if they wish. What do you think about that as a suggestion?
I think Nasser's last little bit was crucial in that
Yeah,
we need some sort of tool, of which I know nothing, some
sure.
sort of tool where we see the people who have needs. Like I recommend, I need the digital marketing stuff.
Fab.
And then, but I have to give. So back to over into your bartering world
Yes. Yes, yes.
is kind of, you know, where I live
Yes.
in this
Yes.
group. So I think model, there's so many pitfalls in a bartering system.
Yes.
I was consulting for a team that were doing it out in doesn't matter, it's meaningless to you anyway. I consulted quite a bit with some bartering crews
Yeah.
10 years ago,
Yeah.
and some of them were real shysters, people hosting those platforms. You're paying to be on the platform so that you can barter with other people, and then the platform would take
Yeah.
a cut of the deal. And it was just a shady pile of poo.
Yeah.
And then there were those that would enter into bartering agreements, and then once they got what they needed, they would abandon their responsibilities.
Yeah.
So we presented certain solutions that seemed to work for one that had Jazz is sending me notes.
Hey.
I couldn't wait to see Jazz because we've been in these other groups together. So,
Yeah. He's a nice guy.
He's lovely, and
Yeah.
as are you. But yeah,
Thank you.
I like the bartering concept, but I'm hesitant to call it that or whatever. What I think, I wouldn't mind using a system like Calendly or something where people can go in and I'm going to offer X number of 30-minute sessions.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
specialty, I think, with people would be differentiation,
Yes.
because I have a whole program called Unleash Your Niche.
Yes.
So, mine is sort of courageous branding.
Okay. I like it.
90% of what I do is I encourage people to use humor in their business.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I teach public speakers about comedy. I used to be a stand-up comic and I was a comedy writer and all that crap.
Yeah.
So, there are ways that we can be a blessing that are unique value propositions for people.
Yep.
And I think that there are people in the group who, I'm not sure the group is aptly named.
Maybe not.
Only because, and I don't mean to say that as a criticism. I just mean, I can't remember where I wrote it down. Anyway, I get that, like digital sales, it sounded to me like you were having a social media thing. And then, well, no, Zoom is social media, I get that. But
Yeah.
it sounded like the whole thing was about digital sales.
Okay.
But in fact, that's not what it's turning out to be.
Hopefully it's more than that.
Well, I've not seen a lot on the digital sales. Mind you, I've been very busy. I haven't been in it. And I only scanned your document. But anyway, I'm willing to offer a certain number of hours of expertise to people.
Fantastic.
I would like people to offer me some upskill.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
That would be the blessing I would find in the group.
That's good.
90% of my sales before have been face-to-face and handshake and referral.
Yep.
Referral is going to be very crucial.
Yeah.
So in the bartering framework, it might be nice to have a value add of referral.
Okay. Yeah, sure. You're making great suggestions. Yeah.
I don't know, like, do you guys have BNIs over there, right?
We do.
Right. It's not a bad print. The principles are kind of good.
Yes. But
much like the Chamber of Commerce has that opportunity for people to refer and
I can give some feedback on that separately, perhaps.
yeah.
Yeah, go on.
No, I'm
No,
done.
I think you're right. You're right.
I was
It is about,
brainstorming a wee bit.
yes, and it's about taking the good parts of existing models
Yeah.
and saying, well, actually, there are some things here that we don't like. Can we get rid of the things that we don't like, but keep the things that we do like?
Right.
So I think you're right.
Yeah. Like BNI, they kick you out if you don't show up 3 times.
Well, there's a whole host of things. I mean, I think I would deal with that separately. As a separate. If people want to explore that, they can.
Well, I don't say BNI is a great model. I've just gone to a ton of them to speak.
Yeah.
I go there to speak on strategic networking
Yeah.
to BNIs. They're my clients.
Sure. No, that's good.
I'm not a member.
No, that's good.
So because I was a lobbyist, I'm pretty good at strategic networking. So
well, there we are.
I'll give the good schmooze. But
Yes.
there's so many other ways that, like, I like the way you think, like grab the best practices from these different,
totally.
like best practices from Mastermind, best practices of barter, best practices of BNI, all that crap.
Yeah.
I think you're onto something good. That's why I say, if I can be of service to you in any way, because I'm concerned that you're wearing it all.
No, I don't want to wear it all. Not at all.
So that's why I'm saying, I don't know. Christina will say yes to almost anything. It is not in her best interest to say all those yeses.
No.
She
Sometimes
wants
we have
to work
no.
with me really badly, and I told her that, we can work together. She and I have been in contact for a year and a half.
Yeah.
But
I think what she was, in my conversations with her, the impression that I get, and I haven't kind of had a one-to-one particularly with her, and it's a shame she couldn't make it today, but I know that she is so busy in this current moment because of the job that she does, that she is then saying to herself, that's great, I'm fantastically busy at the moment, and maybe she's kind of, putting some hay in the hay wain while she's doing so. But she's then saying to herself, what am I going to do afterwards? Because she's not working on the top of the pipeline. She's mostly cranking the handle and doing as much work as she can possibly do, in waking hours. So she's not doing business development while she's doing business production. I mean, which is a classic, people flip between the two. You're either full on busy doing business production and you forget to do the business development, or you're sort of doing so much business development, you forget about delivering on the business production side. And that's a classic pincer movement that is difficult, particularly for one man or one person, I should say, businesses, and why I'm a big fan of people trying to group together and work together, because that means that there is more cover, for a situation, as you say, rather than try and take it all on our own shoulders. It's about working together as a team, ideally, where we can support one another, through those different, back and forth movements.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of business partners. Actually, I want to rephrase that. I have product partners.
Okay, interesting.
No one has a piece of my business, but they do have a piece of profits from product lines.
Perfect. That's great.
So, for example, there's a woman in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
She and I have developed, just branded and got our URL, what we're calling the Vela luxury education products.
Oh, are you now?
We're putting smart family education, and we're partnering in an affiliate way with resorts.
Whoa, I like it. I was talking to somebody earlier today about travel.
So I was like, how can we leverage the fact that all of these resorts are freaking the hell out?
Yes, they are.
So I thought, well, we can partner on digital delivery until such time as we can deliver in person in their venues.
Sure.
So I developed a whole business model for that. I brought her in to teach media literacy, and I'm going to do cultural literacy. But
Yeah.
we both like to wear costumes, so we're going to make it funny. Um,
Like it.
and so we have these different delivery, like we have delivery for friends and groups, we have delivery for individuals,
Good.
and then we have VIP couples and executives levels and like all that kind of crap. So
Okay.
that was a reconfiguration. We wanted to go on a bus tour this summer.
Yeah.
In Northern Canada to all the resorts
Right.
and like do a girly trip.
Oh, sounds great.
And then so I said to her, I'm like, why don't we go teach in the resorts? We'll just book the stuff. We'll get the venue. We'll have some, we called them rainy day activities.
Okay.
And then COVID hit and we had to reconfigure. So now that's what that looks like. So
Yeah.
I think that there's value in that model for not business partners per se, but product partners.
Interesting. Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree entirely.
like, and then I'm doing 2 YouTube shows with other product partners.
Yeah.
Where we're providing our services digitally and we slap a YouTube show on for publicity.
Brilliant. That sounds great.
So there's stuff we can do for Nasser. There's stuff we can do for those people if we can get them to relax the boxes that they've always had themselves in a little bit. So jazz could be a really big blessing for opening the minds.
Yes, he could.
Nasser could be an excellent financial profit strategist.
Absolutely.
You've got the whole digital extravaganza, and I've got the gift of seeing the skills matrix so that products naturally form in my head.
And as you say, product partnerships.
But that's what I mean. Like I can look at people and go, oh, you know, you guys could do that thing together. You could do that together.
I think that's really
together.
good.
So
and we're going to need this.
Right. So yeah, I think that, so you can do whatever you want with all my babbling.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want with what I've said I can offer.
No, it's great. I like it.
My only gift is an imagination, really.
Which is great.
That's why my company is called Your Exponential Potential.
Oh, right. Yes, of course. Yes.
Because
you're
what I
it.
see in people.
You're proving it.
Yeah. It's been there my whole life. That's why I'm a Buddhist. So,
excellent. Even better.
All right, listen, I've got a toodle. Thanks for getting me up early.
No, sorry about that. I've tried to do the best I can.
Well, you know me, I'm up early.
Good,
I'm just not cute yet.
No, on the other hand, your mind is free enough to come up with some interesting directions.
Yeah, that's kind of, I don't even want to, see, I don't want to teach anymore. I don't want to work anymore. I just want to get on stage and talk and help people figure their shit out.
Fantastic.
That's not happening in COVID, so.
Well, we can find different ways, I think.
Yeah, let me know how you want to proceed.
Thanks,
I will tell you that I am, mornings are okay for me. My afternoons, which would be pushing towards your supper, because it's 5 hours different, right?
Yeah.
So 1 o'clock for you is 8 a.m.
I was trying to find a suitable slot, and I was trying to work with a number of people who said,
what happened to Ian? I thought he was coming with people.
Yeah. So he said that, and I kind of said yes, please, and that things happen, things change.
Oh no, I suspect he got into his meeting, and the people he was meeting with were like, "No, we're here to focus on what we're doing."
So, and that's fine. That's okay. That happens.
Yeah. Anyway, let me know. I did clear Thursday mornings.
Okay.
I cleared it out.
Okay. I mean, I suppose the difficulty is it's always trying to cater for a larger audience.
You can't please everybody.
Yeah, no, it's quite difficult.
Yeah, so like some of my stuff, I turned into, I have a lunch laughs group where we just
Yeah.
literally eat lunch together, and we
Yeah,
we
great.
share stupid cat videos and laugh.
Yeah.
And then my morning group has turned into an evening group. Like, it just, things are just sort of fluid, I guess is the
Do
word.
those give you a chance to kind of exercise your creativity?
Well, my creativity is pretty much exhausted every day.
Oh, right. Okay.
Um, I'm in production for a show for the trans community.
Oh, good. Okay.
We're gonna do a funny show on the with a trans person. My trans person came to me and said, "I want to have real conversations where we can laugh."
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
"All right, I'm in it to win it." So we're doing that. So that's pretty creative.
You're doing so much. You're doing loads of stuff.
Well, I spent 2019 building these things, and they were all meant to launch in March.
Sure.
And then my trans partner has been in the hospital for the last week,
Okay.
trying not to get COVID because he was
Oh,
he was in for something else.
okay. Okay. But
But
he's okay at the moment, or?
well, he's out of hospital, but
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So, and then I have another teacher administrator out of the U.S., and he and I are called the Brain Stems.
To do with STEM.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Great.
So we're doing. We were going to go on the road and do speeches.
There is no shortage. There is no shortage of creativity going on here.
So what we've done is this morning we got up at the crack of ass and we did an outline for a book called Home Hacks for Learning Companions.
Oh, great. I like it. Yeah. Wow.
Because parents are not teachers, and it's time we stopped trying to turn them into them and taught them how to be learning companions.
I like it. I like that.
And then I have an app company, a membership-based app company, where I have a quit smoking app.
Oh, okay.
On May 17th, I'll be done with them for a year.
Okay. Oh, well done. Congratulations.
And then I have a post-traumatic growth planning app as well. I have a program for trauma survivors.
There's going to be a few of those after this.
Well, Jesus, yes. So I get busy and get that stuff out there. But that's the thing is I do, well, except for the PTG and the quit smoking thing, everything else I do. Post-traumatic growth. Post-traumatic growth.
Yeah.
I don't try, it's called PTS, duh.
Okay.
So, because I had it from Hurricane Katrina. I had trauma from Hurricane Katrina. So.
Oh, wow.
PTSD made me really stupid. It lowered my IQ.
Wow.
It's quite normal. It's actually a brain injury to have.
Yes.
So I was really, and so I walked around. I couldn't remember things. I was losing time. It was all very swirly. And so people would say, "Well, Lucia, you said such and such," and I would go, "Oh Christ, PTSD."
Yeah.
So now I wrote a book and built a cognitive behavioral therapy program. So I want to deliver all that crap digitally. But my point in telling you all that garbage is that all the people you have in your group can be configuring for quick projects.
Yes.
And that's what I mean by scalable reconfiguration. There's something they can all do right now to have a revenue stream.
Okay.
There's something they can all make and I have formulas for building products.
Okay.
There's something they could do right now to plop online that could be $10 or $20.
Okay, but I mean they've obviously got to find it.
Yeah, that's my job.
Okay, brilliant.
I can look at anyone's business and go, "There's $20."
Yeah.
How many units do you want to sell a month? That's the marketing you need to do, right?
Yeah.
That's why he and I have just whipped out this little book, this little guide for parents to be learning companions, because we cannot, because they're not homeschoolers.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
You know the you're doing, and it's a lot. I mean, a significant lot. I'm just wondering, in terms of the audiences, what's your thinking about the audiences, and how do the products connect with the audiences?
Mostly empathically.
All right.
You have to market in a way that makes a consumer recognize themselves when they see your stuff.
Aha.
So how do, like for me, I have a YouTube channel called After the Gym.
Oh yes, I'd like to. If you could send me the details of that afterwards.
It's raw.
Okay.
It's literally, it started out in January when I was going to the gym and I would get in my car after and I
Yeah.
was all pumped up. And it
Okay.
was meant to be directed to people working with PTSD.
Yes.
So it was all about productivity and organizing your thoughts and not getting overwhelmed and using
Yeah.
biochemistry in your favor, etc.
Okay.
And then COVID hit and they took away my gym
Yes.
and it did not go well in my head.
No.
So lately the posts have been really quite raw and they've been done from my apartment or the stairwell in my apartment building or whatever. And it was only last night when I figured out what I wanted to do with that channel, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of things, but I was headed for empathy in that little babble. And
Yes.
sometimes you have to rein me in, by the way, and don't be shy to do it. As long as you do it politely, I'm down with it.
Okay. Thank you.
I think most marketing is meant to be empathic.
Yes.
And I think when you remind people that your customer needs to recognize themselves
Yes.
in what you project.
Yes.
So with Nasser's, here's what I do, here's what I'm into, whatever, I couldn't find myself.
Right.
So I went back and queried him so I could find myself
I see what you're saying.
for comprehension.
That's a nice point.
So I think that that's something we can help. And I think it applies to digital marketing.
It's part of projecting an image in one sense, or an impression, and as you say, getting to the point where you're building a relationship where people say, look, I understand you, and therefore we can look at it this way and say, I'm willing to work with you. Or the next stage would be, and in fact, yes, I'm willing to pay you for services that you provide or a product that you provide. It is about, I think it's very often about building a relationship where there's a feeling of trust. All of
that occurs through empathy.
I went out yesterday, and I said to my wife, look, I'm going down to the local shops, but I don't really want to go to that the immediate local shop, because he always gives me the impression that he doesn't really care about me. What he mostly cares about is, can you get a bit more money out of people? So therefore, you get these random prices that he charges.
Well,
So and my wife said, look, why don't you try the shop opposite, which is on the other side of the road? It's a tiny bit further. It's not a lot further. So I went in there, and I had a completely different impression. The guy was polite. He smiled. He was friendly. He was respectful. And I thought, okay, and the prices were reasonable. So I thought, look, I've got a completely different impression from this shop. It's a very ordinary example, but it's actually entirely bearing out the point that you're making.
I find it hard to reconcile for myself, and this is why I need advice.
Uh-huh.
How are we to, that's what I was just jotting down.
Yeah.
How are we to ensure that our marketing has empathy and humanity in it?
That's not impossible. There is a difficulty though, which I would encapsulate in the marketing expression audience of one, because obviously when you are marketing to people, and you're right, it is about trying to reach a point of empathy. But if all of our audiences are very different, and they often are, that then is a marketing challenge, because it's about trying to have enough of a consistency to have the same kind of message, but enough diversity to reach the different types of audiences that you want to reach, which of course is why people end up segmenting so that they are reaching the same section of the audience that they're trying to reach, or the same type of people, or the same people who like certain types of things. And that is a challenge. And I would say to people, we do need different marketing messages. In conversation like this, it's pretty easy, or it's easier, because we can empathize with the person that we're talking to, and we get an idea of where they are, what sort of things that they want to do. If they're brave enough to say, yes, there are some things that I need, then you might find, there's something where you may have some of your connections that you have, where you can suggest, here's someone who might be able to help you with whatever this is. And that's, for me, that's a fundamental part of networking, is empathizing with the person that you're talking to. And it is harder. It is harder if you're not face to face, but a lot of people get it wrong face to face. So it's not a given, even face to face. A lot of people are not terribly good at that. So I think it's intrinsic to that exercise. Is, ideally what we want to do is help each other.
Well, you get in the marketing world, like, we've always used a certain degree of neurolinguistic programming. We've also made sure that we were subculturally competent, so that we were using the lexicon that spoke to the target market, and all of these little doodads that we do.
Yeah.
And
no, I agree. Yes.
You and I remember before social media.
Oh yes.
And when I think one of my favorite evolutions has been, that marketing style where they're like, stains on your carpet got you down.
Yeah.
That style of what we call the query style, where you want the customer saying, well, yes, stains on my carpet do get me down. And
yeah.
My goodness, do they have a solution for me? Why, look at this lovely bottle of stuff. So, but that still exists today. You have, I see Facebook ads that are you stuck? I hate that word so much, honest to God. I could punch someone at, people who tell others that they're stuck, or, are you not achieving what you'd like to achieve?
But you know what that is?
Stuck in a rut. Or the query style of empathy generation for me is so 1950s car salesman, it makes me laugh.
Oh, fine. Sure. It's not for everybody, but you know why you find that a lot easier than other people?
I don't find it easier. I find it funny.
No, but the thing is that you have that creativity. So that creativity means that you don't get stuck, whereas other people will get stuck and legitimately stuck.
Oh yeah.
And that's where your creativity comes in, because your problem solving is you have many dimensions to it.
Yeah, I credit some people with that.
Excellent. Who would that be?
There's I teach a course called Collaboration Mapping.
Oh, I love it.
I know, it's so good.
Yeah, I like it.
That principle, I used to be the assistant director of membership for the Royal Canadian Legion nationally.
Yeah.
And what we found is there were legions that were suffering and legions that were successful. And of course, each legion manager ran it like a little small business. They were like little franchises and blah, blah, blah. And we wanted skill collaboration. We wanted best practices from one guy to transfer to the other guy, so that everybody was more laterally positioned and that sort of thing. And the woman I worked for, Dorothy Bell, she was a Greek woman raised in London, England.
Oh.
And came to Canada in her 20s, and I met her when she was in her 50s.
Yes.
and her information management skills,
Ah.
her ability to connect dots,
Yes.
her ability to map things in a
Oh, that's
way that
wonderful.
people are only discovering now, like mind mapping and my collaboration mapping.
Yeah.
And so she was able to articulate, and I was a young girl. I was 24 when I met her.
Yeah.
So I had a couple of really, and the other one who I credit with my free for all thinking is
Yes.
a lawyer I worked for.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
So, because he was a child advocate, so
Uh,
his ability to configure families in a healthy way
yes.
was very interesting. So when my base knowledge, because I didn't finish high school.
Mm.
I have a little bit of college and a grade equivalency degree and that kind of thing. But
Mm.
I've always had people who were like freaky random thinkers.
Brilliant.
And because I come from the entertainment industry where no bad idea exists,
Okay.
I always like to say there's no bad ideas, only good seeds.
Okay. Sure.
And so when you're in a writing group and you're writing dialogue or writing plays or film or TV like I did,
Mm.
it was just post-its on the wall and craziness. So I credit some people very early in my career with that kind of thing. And if
Yeah.
we can bring that kind of, what did he say? He said something about fail fast and iterate.
I know what that is.
What is that?
That's the startup mantra. If you're going to do something, it's actually fail fast and cheaply, so that you don't throw a lot of money at something while you're
Okay,
doing
that
it.
makes more sense than the iterate part. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, no. The iterating is that there's another famous saying: "No business case survives first contact with the customer." The idea is that change should be allowable, even at the conceptual stage,
Mm.
because you're trying stuff out. You think there's a problem, you come up with a possible solution, you put a possible solution in front of an audience, and the audience goes, "I don't get that," and therefore you've got to try again. So that's the point about failing fast. And by the time you get to a large corporates are very, very reluctant to spend money on something and then not do something about it. And I remember a project that I was on which spent £1.2 million because they were reluctant to say, well, we don't want to do this. But they ended up saying they don't want to do it right at the end anyway. So it was a terrible waste of money. And they wasted some more money previously of a similar kind of order by not running the project very well. People, they don't remember to test things first, to say, let's have a pilot. Let's try it. Let's see what people think. Let's get the reaction from that. And then let's base our business decision based on that immediate first reaction.
Oh, that gives me an idea. Okay, first I want to ask you, are most of the people in your group solopreneurs?
I think that, I think previously I would say yes. I think now I've got a strange mix of people because I've got some very technologically aware people, in amongst whom are some quite successful people.
Oh, cool.
So they're not necessarily solopreneurs anymore. Would they be willing to spend any time doing anything other than what they're doing? In other words, when they break out of the focus that they have, I would say a lot of the time no. But nevertheless, they're interesting people, and in the right circumstance, if you can find the right expression, the right phrase, the right moment, it may be possible to break into that very focused, targeted way of working.
Well,
but it's an exception.
Reese, the solopreneur thing is the exception?
No, the more successful people are the exception. I think largely they're solopreneurs, yes.
Okay. The reason I asked you is a couple of reasons. one of which was we are, okay, two things. First of all, people are good at what they do, not good at running businesses.
Yes.
And I think that's a distinction as a whole we need to come to terms with.
Yeah.
I'm really good at what I do, and I am absolute shit at my certain other things. Like,
Yeah,
I
sure.
had to sit down with a profit strategist for him to help me understand that the money lies in replication.
Yeah.
So, and that was like some sort of wizard moment for me.
Yeah.
You know, because I was trying to snowflake bespoke everything, and he's like, "What are you doing? Come on."
Yeah.
He had to slap me around and go, "You're just not that special. Like, come on." So that
There's
was
not
nice.
enough of you. There's not enough of your creativity for that. Even your creativity.
Oh, you'd be surprised. But I can slow anything down. But then, so that was a profound moment where,
Yeah.
okay, profit lies in rep. That's why I was like, okay, let's get these people some $20 revenue streams, some easy
Yep.
peasy stuff, right?
Yep.
And that's, like, because I'm guilty of over engineering everything. So, and then the other thing that occurred to me was that you built a focus group.
Yes.
So, as a mechanism outside of the barter and the advice and the blah, 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 concept
Yep.
development. So that phase of
Yes.
product development where we're in concept development,
Yes.
how many members are in the group?
I have not looked because I wanted to try and some background.
I
This
looked a while
group's-
ago, it was 35. I think it's 50 now.
Okay, this group's quite small.
Yeah, I like it.
And I say that because I started in about January 2016 on a particular Facebook group, which has got a particular focus, which is in this instance it's systems thinking. And we had
I joined it.
Oh, did you? We've got okay. So we had back
Bizarre
then,
large.
4 years ago, we had 850 members. Now we've got over 11,000.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. So, I'm kind of thinking, how do I put that in perspective? And B, how can I provide use to people coming out of that? And I probably still haven't got to the end of that yet.
Yeah.
But maybe this, if we have this sort of mutual support group, there might be some things that come out of that.
Well, that salon format I was talking about and
Yeah.
matching it with the focus group theory,
Yes.
where almost like concept pitching for review with our peers,
Yes.
where I might come on and say, I want to try X,
I like it.
and I'm alone in my apartment, which means I think I'm brilliant.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, all my jokes are hilarious when I'm writing them alone in my apartment.
No. An
Um,
audience helps enormously. Yes.
Oh God, yeah, we need social mirroring. So,
Well, this is a great suggestion. I think this is a great suggestion.
Using like concept development focus group, kind of like convening the focus group, but you have to get people in a queue, or we have to be formal in, okay, you've got 3 minutes to present.
Yes.
And then we're going to do 10 minutes of everybody gets one comment. We're just going to go through the line.
Yeah.
And everybody gets a comment.
Sure.
And then at the end, that person can aggregate or use that 10 minutes how they deem necessary.
Sure.
They can ask someone for a follow-up, or they can do whatever. And then after the 10 minutes is expired, we move to the next concept.
Absolutely.
That's why
great.
I asked you how many people were there. We also know that there are just lurkers in every group.
Always.
And God bless the lurkers. But
I've done it myself.
I do that. There's a group specifically that I think you and I are both in where I can be quite a lurker. Is
that not Global Challenges? Not Global Challenges collaboration by any chance?
Oh no, but I want to be in that one. Put me in there.
That's a deep group. That's another whole conversation for another time.
Okay. No, it's that Thomas Power group.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, I tend to lurk in there because mostly it's depressing.
Yes. Yeah.
It's all
Well, they need you as the antidote.
I do pop in, but I confess that often my humor is ignored, and mostly only the admin Michelle loves me, and Christina, she loves me too. She likes to joke with me too. But
Who's that? Chris who? Sorry.
Christina.
Oh,
Doolin.
Christina. Of course. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. She's got wicked good sense of humor.
No, I like
She and I
Christina.
end up. Actually, she and I think we talk more on Facebook than on WhatsApp. But anyway, I just think that there's a lot of configurations that.
I like the suggestion.
Well, some configurations will suit certain people.
Sure.
And like, not everybody wants a peer review.
No, sure.
They're not ready for, oh, that hurt my feelings. The ego can get in the way, or the tenderness of heart, given the circumstances, can get in the way. And then some people want more one-on-one. Some people want peer. Like for me, I would just throw my concept up and tell you to shred it. Like, because the more you shred it, the better it becomes, right? So
yeah, it takes iteration, back to iteration again.
Right. So that's an idea we could do. So I don't know if I would be leery of just one format.
No, fine.
But I over-engineer everything, so.
No, I think you've suggested that's a good suggestion. Absolutely.
And
I think people would be interested in, and I think, because I'm thinking about those people, there are people who are trying to switch sector, and there are people who are trying to reskill entirely. And I think for those people reskilling, a new product or a product concept is something that does need proper testing, does need some aspect of peer review. So I think it's a good suggestion.
Listen, I don't think anybody's about to reinvent the wheel.
Oh, no.
But they do need to get that wheel and paint it with their colors.
And they need the feedback.
Yeah, so differentiation, concept development, and then like one of my projects yesterday, she said, Lucia, this is all fine and dandy, but we need deadlines, we need timelines. She says, you're so esoteric and fluffy, and she's like, but I need to nail this crap down. And I'm like, okay, so the resorts would be selling it that time, and then we would be selling it to the resorts at that time, and then we reverse engineered. And I think there's a lot of value in reverse engineering concepts, but
totally, that's how you design.
But yeah, if my partners didn't I told all my partners just to manage me.
Yeah.
And thank God they do.
I think it's also about structure. If there's a structure in place where and there are people who are relying on that structure, then there's more incentive to follow the structure, because you know that other people are relying on that, and therefore you have that sense of responsibility to other people to say, look, okay, this is the format, this is the structure, let's follow that, because we know that, as you say, there could be people standing in a queue waiting to come and join in.
Yes, those of us that are single, our housework can attest to that.
Don't talk to me. I am not a housework expert in the slightest.
I suspect you're of a more traditional relationship structure. We'll call it traditional.
Kind of yes and no, I would say, but that's another much bigger story.
For sure. Listen, it's been really great hanging out with you today.
You've come up with some amazing ideas, actually. Thank you.
Oh, that's cool. Sometimes people find me intrusive with all of my ideas, so I appreciate you saying that.
I think ideas are extremely important. I mean, we're talking about having a potential situation where we're asking people to come to us with their new ideas, and then saying, what do we think about that from a viable, taking it forward, audience demand, etc., perspective. So, ideas are important, without question. I mean, the Chinese, probably 5 years ago, had set up what they call ideation centers. So that was all about, we've got ideas, what are we going to do with them? I'm not sure the Chinese system is necessarily ideally set up to come up with free ideas because there are some more constraints in their system. Equally, there are some values to that, as we've seen, with COVID. I don't know any other nation that large that I think could have dealt with the situation the way they did.
I think that the final note that I would want to offer, and I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here, is not everybody knows how to give constructive criticism.
No.
So we need to be mindful of how we can guide those conversations.
That's a fantastic point.
And the other one is making sure that the language of what you're trying to achieve is approachable.
Yes.
So a feasibility study is more complex and less approachable than, let's do a casual focus group.
True.
Where the same thing is achieved.
Yes.
But the language is less intimidating.
Absolutely.
So from a comm strategy point of view, while we are all in such a vulnerable state,
we are
in a newly, and I don't do well with vulnerability or expressing vulnerability or the whole having the feelings thing.
Not many people do, really.
I don't. I'm a military child. I was a military wife. I spent my life working with law enforcement and military.
Yeah.
So the whole locked up alone for 8 weeks, having feelings left and right is bizarre. So I think that there's a vulnerable state where criticism would hurt more.
It has to be, as you say, it has to be done constructively. I go back to what I said. That's a really important point, and it is something that we can provide advice and guidance on.
Well, I think we can come up with, like, I have a set of criticism starters.
Okay. Yes.
Things like, have you considered?
Oh, yes.
You might want to think about. A cool idea might be.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know what I mean? Like, just those, like, sort of conversation lubricant a little bit when you're shredding someone.
It's shredding, but in a nice way.
Yeah. So conversations like that give someone a fresh idea while you're taking their other idea down a little bit.
Yeah, I find that it kind of helps to think that you're in a public space, because I think then that you are much less likely to be well, some people are just brutal anyway, but it actually does remind you that you're talking to another person, it's in a public space, and therefore that you need to be more mindful about that fact.
So some simple guidelines like that, I think, I find in my mastermind group, especially now with everybody raw.
Yes.
Is we start with our guidelines. We start by reminding everyone that we're all just a little sunburned spiritually right now.
Yep.
And if you have, like, let's just mind our language while we criticize. Let's mind our language while we agree or disagree. And
yes,
we find that helpful.
Yes.
I find it helpful because when I'm free thinking, I can be a little, Lucia.
Creative.
So what's your plan?
My plan right now is that I want to digest many of the good things that you've said and that have been said previously by both Jazz and Nas.
Yeah.
And I want to jot down some bullet points about that and some thoughts about what we do next. So I think my immediate response would be to digest, to summarize, and then to come back to yourself, at least, possibly also the group, the wider group as well, to say, this was the initial meeting. this was a suggestion that came out of it, or several suggestions that came out of it. What does everybody think? And see what people think.
Yeah, do a poll. And then the other thing is make it predictable. So if you're going to meet on Thursdays, as you exit this one, tell them there's another one next Thursday.
Sure, and then they can decide. Yes.
Right. And if we move the schedule around too much, it won't be predictable enough.
Yeah.
So
do you want to keep meeting on a 1 o'clock slot, or is a bit later better?
I wouldn't mind a 2 o'clock slot.
Okay. Well, UK time or your time?
Your time.
Our time. Okay.
Sweetie, we started this at 8 o'clock in the morning for me.
Yeah, I know it's early.
No, you know me, I'm always up. It's just certain morning rituals.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. I chose to be here.
Okay, all right.
I chose to clear the path. I chose to do that. So, but 9 o'clock, so 2 o'clock your time might be a little, like I missed, I forgot that I have a standing at Thursday, 8 a.m.
Yes.
And so I missed a Twitter chat, open, responsible, whatever.
With Simon.
Yeah.
I work with Simon here.
He wasn't going to have a chat this morning, and I was like, Simon, I miss you guys. I want to have a chat. And then I did this instead. So I'm scum. You tell him I was with you.
No, I don't want to upset him.
No, I'll go tell him. I'll be like, I'm not here because Peter Jones made me go to.
It wasn't my fault. It wasn't me.
But that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't mind it pushed till 9.
No, sure. I think that it works better for me as well, really.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm going to assume I'm going to see you next Thursday if we don't speak before.
Yes, absolutely. I will, as I say, I'll digest in the meantime, summarise and publish those musings.
Don't forget to delegate.
Thank you very much, Lucia. I will do what I can.
All right, sweetie. Take care.
Lucia, thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Bye.
Take care. Bye now.